This episode is brought to you by my one and only food and mood journal. This is an 8-week food and mood journal and planner for beginners where you can track how food affects your mood, your hunger, and your energy levels. Are you sick and tired of promising yourself to stop binge eating? Do you feel out of control with food and you just don't know why you overeat? You might have intense cravings leading to self-sabotage. My food and mood journal is the perfect tool to help you tune into your signals that your body sends you. And by tracking what you eat and drink will help you give insight on how food affects your moods. This is an 8-week kickstart to mindful eating to help you identify the triggers that make you want to eat when you're not physically hungry. So this includes a food tracker, a mood and stress tracker, because we know that stress eating can also lead to overeating. We also have an 8-week goals tracker with journal prompts and affirmations. You'll also track things like your water intake and exercise. It makes a beautiful gift for anyone who feels out of control with food. It's an easy to use journal and it will give you just the insights to help you get on the path to stop binge eating, emotional eating, or any other form of overeating. So get your food and mood journal today by clicking the link in the show notes. Thank you. Welcome to Beyond Overeating by Wholesome Lifestyle Project, the Overeating podcast, where I'll be showing up weekly to share with you what I've learned during my binge eating recovery, helpful tools such as yoga, mindfulness, and energy medicine. My name is Stell, and my purpose is to inform and educate so that you can fast track your recovery in healing your relationship with food and finally trust yourself around the peanut butter jar. Join me as I share top tips, my struggles and triumphs to help inspire or just entertain. Remember, there is nothing wrong with you if you can't stop overeating. That's why I'm here to guide you. Welcome back to the Beyond Overeating podcast by Wholesome Lifestyle Project. My name's Stell, binge and emotional eating recovery specialist. And I'm excited to be back in 2022. Happy New Year. And I just wanted to welcome you back. I'm feeling refreshed. I feel like there's this brand new energy in the air. So if you've been listening to me for a while, or if you're brand new on the show, I just wanted to say thank you so much. I wanted to start today, fresh energy, with a gentle card reading just for the podcast, for you in particular. For those of you that don't know, I do a lot of intuitive card readings on Inside Timer, so you're welcome to go and check me out there, Coombe-Heath. I'll put the link in the show notes as well if you want to follow my meditations on there. And you know, for me, I really enjoy reading cards. It really just brings out a different side of me. And I just get so much out of it. And people who come to my readings also get so much out of it. And I thought, why not actually do a reading for the podcast? I've promised you woo-woo in the past, and I feel like I haven't really delivered on that in a sense. So I'm just looking for some guidance for 2022. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I will show you the card. If you are actually not on, if you're listening to this on Spotify, you're welcome to visit the show notes and watch the actual video. So the card I got was the reflection card, which is this beautiful wolf on it, the moon shining above. And, you know, I think what's so great about reflection is it's a new year. We get to reflect on everything that happened in 2021, maybe even if you want to go back past into the pandemic. And, you know, being in a reflective position at the beginning of the year is great, and it ties so well in with New Year's resolutions. And this is what this podcast is all about. Now, usually when we go into reflection, we think about all the things we have done wrong, all the things we did not achieve in the previous year. And we almost put shame or blame into whatever we haven't achieved, and we attach that to our self-worth. And once we attach to our self-worth, that actually adds back into the binge guilt cycle, right? Because we then say, well, here you go again, you haven't achieved anything you've liked in 2021, you probably back where you started, or you are in a space where you just feel like, well, I'm just stuck, I'm never going to get anywhere. And usually a new year or a new month brings through a fleeting hope of possibility, a new opportunity for us to start with a clean slate. Now, I am all for it, but it depends how you approach it, especially when it comes to binge eating. And I feel like for so many years, I would be in that space of hatred and disgust with myself and my body and everything that I kind of, felt for myself. And I always started my year in unhappiness, with unrealistic goals, with restrictive eating plans. And that would send me back into binge eating 2-3 weeks into the new year. I was back into binge eating because I made life so restrictive for myself. So what I wanted for us to work on this year, reflect on, is being expansive. And if you wanted to really look at 2021 just in a sense of gratitude, a sense of learning something new, there's always something that we can learn from any situation. So take the positive out of 2021. Maybe 2021 was the year you realized you actually had an issue with food, and this is the year where you actually get to make a difference. And so, before we get into anything further, I wanted to just give you the opportunity to join the Rewire Your Overeating Brain Mastermind. We start next week. So I will put the link in the show notes for that. It's an 8-week mastermind where we delve deep into understanding your reasons why you behave the way you do with food, and how to actually physically rewire your thinking, your emotions, and your behaviors when it comes to food and your body. So I just had to mention that because I feel like sometimes we just get ourselves so stuck and we realize that we need a solution, but we don't know where to turn. And I'd love to offer the Rewire Your Overeating Brain Mastermind as a resource for you to invest in yourself this year and finally just have some clarity and focus. And, just imagine what life would be like if in the next 8 weeks you get rid of your binge eating and you start and then you have the rest of 2022 to focus on other things, such as anything in your life. Some of my clients have actually started writing books, they changed careers, they asked for promotions, all these kind of things came out of the program because they felt and found themselves through the journey of rewiring their brain. Once they cut that cord that kept them so attached to their eating and their thoughts and feelings and emotions about food, so many things opened up for them. So one thing I wanted to start off with this year in reflection is just to thank you as the listener for showing up and being here, sharing my episodes with your friends, or just taking what I say on board. And I wanted to share, I just wanted to pull it up, an email that I actually got from Maria, one of my listeners. She actually wrote me a beautiful email to say that she's been listening to my podcast, and she just has been on such a whirlwind of a weight loss journey. She then felt like she just couldn't stop overeating though. So at the end of summer last year, I'm guessing, she says, I was overeating every day and full on binging like once a week. And then she found my podcast. And she, unfortunately, I was sick with COVID, and I started listening to your podcast mixed with God's presence in my life. Oh, Saint bless my love. And I've been doing extremely well. The first episode about urges literally changed my way of thinking about many things in my life, not even just food. I haven't been this changed woman for very long, and I still have a long way to go. But the huge progress has made mentally by understanding that I can control my urges is truly life-changing. So thank you, Maria, for tuning into my podcast and, sharing your experience and your journey with me. So even if your commitment this year is just to tune into this podcast weekly, that's already going to support you very much in a long way. And I would love to hear from you. If you have any questions, I'd love for you to go to my website, www.wholesomelifestyleproject. In the corner, you'll see a little purple chat button. In there, you can type your details and your message, send it off to me, and I'll get back to you with your questions. If you want a specific topic answered on the podcast, then type podcast question and send me your question, and I will gladly answer it. I'm here to support you. So one of your New Year's resolutions this year might be just to commit to tuning into this podcast every single week, where I am here to serve you. I have a vision of helping 1 million women have a better relationship with food and their bodies. So I'd love for you to tune in and listen, but also share this with your communities, share it with friends. If you are in a Facebook group, for example, and the women all in there struggle with binge eating, share this podcast out to them. I would gladly so love to make a difference in their life, like I have already to my clients, and also to people like Maria, who I've never met before. She just sent me an email to tell me what an amazing impact my message has had on her so far. So let's get back into reflection. And, New Year's resolutions can be quite triggering for binge eating and eating disorder recovery. And the reason for this is because we all of a sudden get sucked into this hype, this new year, new me scenario. And we all know that unfortunately that never really goes well. It never really goes according to what we think it is. We might buy into buying a cleanse, or we might buy into joining some form of challenge. And unfortunately, usually what that does is it creates the hype. We get sucked in, we on the wagon, like wagon wonder for like a few days, and then all of a sudden we are back to square one. So I would recommend that you don't get sucked into the weight-related New Year's resolutions that we see in the media at the moment. Try not to look at it. Unfollow the New Year, New Me hashtags on Instagram and Facebook, and just try not to get yourself caught up in those kind of things, because I know that that is just not going to be helpful for you at all. It's probably just going to get you and help you feel more frustrated. Like myself, I would, by February, I would be back into binge eating, back into old habits, and I'd feel so completely lost. So today I wanted to give you a little bit of a different perspective on New Year's resolutions. And New Year's resolutions is sometimes that element that kind of shows us that or emphasizes that we are not perfect. And that triggers our perfectionist mindset. It also kind of lends itself to implying that, the previous version of us in last year wasn't good enough. And that is 100% not true. You are good enough as you sit here. And you are worthy as you sit here. Like, there's nothing that you need to change really in this year. So, like, aspiring to a new me is going to be unrealistic. It's going to chase the perfectionism bandwagon. And I would love for us to really just start practicing with more grace and flexibility when you set your goals. Last year, I talked about in yoga, we talk about setting a heartfelt intention instead. And what that means is actually setting an intention about how you're going to feel, how you feel about yourself and your body and your mind and your thoughts. What are the thoughts that you think? What are the emotions you want to evoke, instead of these hard and fast rules of, getting to a certain number on the scale, or reducing the number of binge foods you have in the house, or whatever the case is. So I have put together 10 New Year's resolutions that I think will absolutely serve you. And I would love to go through them with you and just talk a little bit about each one. So the first New Year's resolution that I would love for you to consider is joining a structured plan or program that will actually help you end binge eating. If you are in a space where you are just sick and tired of going through the same circles and cycles every single year, and you just feel like enough is enough, then I would love for you to start thinking about actually joining a program or some help. Investing in this is probably the best investment you can make in yourself, in your life. Because I promise you, once you have dealt with binge eating, and once that is no longer an issue for you, once you've gotten rid of the food thoughts, the obsessions, the negative self-talk, the negative beliefs about your body, and life just becomes so magical. And I speak from my own experience, but also some of my clients who have been through the journey, and even my friends who, my friend who coached me into becoming binge free, her life is so much better after she recovered from binge eating. So I'm not just speaking from over 150 clients that I've helped, but also from other people and peers that I have personally witnessed and seen recover from this. So I urge you to actually have faith in yourself that you can do this year, and join the Rewire Your Overeating Brain Mastermind. That is one of the best solutions I have for you that is going to help you get onto track and just break this vicious cycle once and for all. So it starts next week, the 15th, what is it? Let me just have a look, the 17th of January. So I will put the link to the show notes below so that you have all the details of the mastermind. Come and join the sisterhood. I promise you, it is just a life-changing experience for everyone. Second resolution I would love for you to do and really consider this year is movement for health and not punishment. So I work with two different personalities when it comes to exercise. There's the one personality who feels that exercise is punishment, and they only associate exercise with weight loss and everything else. The other personality is the personality who uses and abuses exercise also for weight loss. And both sides of the coin can become kind of, the one is obsessive with exercise, and unfortunately that can lead to injuries. but also binges because of the huge calorie deficits you create from over-exercising. But then there's also those who resist movement because they feel like it's just a form of punishment. That's what they used to. They've bought into the eat less, run more philosophy, and that is kind of just how they perceive movement. Now, movement is one of the most important things we can do for our bodies. And notice that I don't say exercise, because even exercise can be a triggering word. Just even twisting and rotating your body during the day as you sit at your desk, or getting up and just walking a little bit throughout the day is going to help stimulate blood flow into all your muscles. And the reason we need movement is because if we don't move our bodies, the body gets rid of things that it doesn't need. So our muscles start to atrophy. And that's the last thing you want. If you want to be healthy, fit, and strong for many, many years to come, you want to make sure that you and your body is continuously moving. So I would suggest finding movement that soothes your soul, whether that's dancing or boxing or, just even walking around the block. It might be yoga, it might be Tai Chi, whatever it is. Find something that soothes and connects with you, something you enjoy that you can connect with. But on the other hand, also make sure that you move your body in the form of stretching, twisting, and turning throughout your workday. Even if you standing all day, I would say still make sure that you rotate your spine, bend and stretch and do those kind of things to just help your body move for health. The next thing that I would recommend as a resolution is meeting with a professional, whether it's a therapist, your dietitian, on a regular basis. Whether that's with me, I offer one-on-one programs. If group programs are not your thing, you're welcome to reach out and meet with me on a one-to-one basis as well. Because what this does is it actually laser focuses on what you're struggling with, so that you can move forward, and also so that you have the accountability and the right support to move forward and break through binge eating. So in a second part to this is, and this is my fourth New Year's resolution, is joining an eating disorder support group, like the Food Freedom for Binge and Emotional Eating Facebook group. I am actually in the process of creating a different platform where we can all connect. So I'm excited to bring that to you as soon as that's available. But if you're already part of a group, a support group, make sure that you participate in there, because that's what's going to really help you with your accountability, but also whatever you're going through, I bet you there's a few other people who's going through the same thing. So that's really important, is to get that support. Resolution number 5 is to commit to make yourself a priority in 2022. We are so quick to put everything above ourselves, above our recovery. And I hear this so often: if I just do this, then I can look after myself. When I do this, then I will start my binge eating recovery journey. When I achieve this, then I will look at signing up to your newsletter, Stell, for extra help. Or when I get to X size, then only will I start thinking about looking after my binge eating. And unfortunately, the longer you put yourself last, you are just going to keep falling back into cycles of not feeling good enough, feeling shame, and that's going to trigger more self-sabotage along the way. So make time for yourself during the day, even if it's 5 minutes that you can just squeeze off. If you have little kids, I do understand that it's extremely difficult, but squeeze off 5 minutes in the toilet if you need to. I used to do this at work, to be honest. If I needed a little self-compassion break or just like an emotional break, I would go to the toilet or go for a quick walk around the block. And just tell my colleagues I'm going to go buy myself a coffee or whatever the case is. And just give yourself that time. Nothing and no one is going to look after you. The only person who does that is you at the end of the day. So make sure that you make yourself and your health a priority. All right. So resolution number 6 is to take on a new hobby that is not related to fitness, weight, or your body. So it cannot be exercise. It needs to be something that's maybe creative or something that you really enjoy. And maybe this is rock climbing for you. Obviously, that's going to involve your body, but try not to make this hobby related to your body, if that makes sense. Find something that will divulge and really get into your interests and your personality, because binge eating often takes over our life. It's the only thing we've got, food and our body, and the scale becomes like this revolving thing that's the only thing we think about, and it can drive us absolutely crazy. It creates this real imbalance in our entire lives. So make sure that you start looking at a hobby. And I would actually suggest making this something that's creative. So dancing or singing or art or, whatever you can that really gets more into our feminine energy, because our feminine side is the more relaxed side. It's the more side that is able to kind of slow down when we get to our binge urges. So really find something that will soothe your soul, fill your soul cup, and without it making you feel bad about your body or your weight. Okay. Number 7, practice self-care. And this kind of ties into the make yourself a priority, but like self-care often is thrown out there as this throwaway phase. We think about just luxurious spa days and all those things, but self-care is so important when it comes to supporting yourself. And this might look different for every single person. I'm not going to tell you how to connect to self-care. When I work with my clients, we actually put together self-care lists. But self-care can look like journaling. It could look like a 5-minute breath work space. It could be a mindful tea break. It could be a hike on a weekend. It could be absolutely anything. It could be spending the day on the beach. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. It doesn't have to be a selfish thing. And again, the same as making yourself a priority. It's putting that oxygen mask on first so that you can help others. And when you invest in yourself in self-care, that is when things slow down and you are able to connect more with your emotions, which allows you to understand what happens during times of binge eating. So give that a go. I would say bring in at least 1 or 2 self-care activities in a week, and set a timer for 5 minutes, and maybe that's all you do, and see what a difference that makes. One of my clients has taken on breath work, and she just absolutely says, Stell, I just can't believe how this breath work just helps me so much. I sit and I breathe for 5 minutes a day, and it's made such a big difference in my life. All right. So resolution number 8 is probably one of the biggest ones that I want to share with you today, and that is to focus on progress and not perfection. So if you've had a day where you did not binge eat for half the day, that is progress. If you had a day where you didn't binge eat at all, that is progress. If you've had a day where you were able to manage and sit with your urge instead of giving into your urge, that is progress. I want you to really start thinking about all the little steps. Stop looking at the big goal. Look at all the little steps. And if you have had a day where you moved for health, where you've acted and invested in your self-care, when you've actually reached out for help in your communities, then that is already progress. There is no such thing as perfection. So I'd love for you to just let that go. And perfectionism is one of the biggest things, the biggest traps that keep my clients in binge eating. So I'd love for you to start, just look at the little things, give yourself credit for the little things, because at the end of the day, all the little things will add up, and it will become like much larger results. All right. Resolution number 9 is also kind of ties in with 8, but learn to be more patient with yourself. Yes, recovery is not a linear approach. It's not well, today I've stopped binge eating and that's it. No, it doesn't work like that. It's up and down. Life is up and down. And, even when you stop binge eating, there's going to be times when you feel like frustrated with yourself. Just learn to be more patient. If you're learning to stop binge eating, know that that is a new skill that you're taking on, and you will find that there are days that are up and days that are down, days that you feel amazing and days that you don't. Be patient with all of those days, because I know it's not easy. Like I've had days where I'm crying in a corner during my recovery, and other days I felt on top of the world. It's a mix of whirlwind of emotions. So be patient with yourself, and that's just going to help again with not triggering binge eating at the end of the day. And the last one, I've put this one last because this is probably also one of the hardest things that most people going through binge eating disorder or any disordered eating struggle with. And that is learning to love parts of our bodies. So I'd love for you to pick just one body part that you hate. Maybe it's your arms, maybe it's your belly, maybe it's your hips, doesn't matter. And just learn to love it. Learn to love it unconditionally. Just pick one part. Once you've learned to love that part unconditionally, you can move on to another one. Start with gratitude. Be grateful for that body part. Be grateful that you have a body. Be grateful that you are able to kind of just use that body part, because each body part has a function. So learn to love that body part and be just at peace with that one part. And that already is going to give you so much freedom, in a sense. It sounds strange, but give it a try. I'd love to hear your feedback on this. If you have tried it, let me know. Obviously, I go much deeper in the Rewire Your Overeating Brain Mastermind into body acceptance and learning how to deal with our body issues and where they come from, and just connecting more with ourselves. That's all part of the journey. We're not just body, we're not just mind. We are this whole union of mind, body, soul. And yeah, it's my vision this year to see many, many more of you sending me emails, telling me your progress, joining my programs, or, just connecting with me, telling me how much progress you've made in your recovery. So thank you so much for tuning in to this episode today. I'm sending you so much love and so excited about the year 2022. I think it is just going to be such an amazing year to be in, especially if you are in a year for recovery. I just feel this is a year of healing, and this is the year of healing for you. So sending you so much love. Bye, my loves.
Thank you so much for joining me today, and don't forget to share this with all your friends. You can do this by adding this to your Instagram story and tagging me at Wholesome Lifestyle Project, or by simply telling them about it. If you could rate and review on whatever platform you are listening, this will go a long way in helping me get this podcast out there so that I can share my message and help as many women out there struggling with food issues as I can. Don't forget, you can follow me on Instagram on Wholesome Lifestyle Project or connect with me on LinkedIn. My name's Coombe-Heath, and that's where you'll find me on LinkedIn. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.